We're back
for round 2, part 2.
You need to not look at me at the start of a podcast as if I'm the one that always should talk first. I think you've got, just as much interesting things to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Soph. It's really nice of you.
Oh, anytime.
Maybe we should start with just a compliment for one another.
We were meant to start hugging at the start of each podcast. Remember, that was going to be our ritual.
Then it got a bit weird.
It did just get a bit weird, didn't it? We were going to hug just to be like...
Especially when you've got like audio engineers in the room and you're standing
Would you
there.
feel uncomfortable with that if we just came in and
Just
started
a
hugging?
group hug.
Nah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, no.
Good to know.
Yeah. No, I think we just got to the point where we're like, okay, come on, hurry up. Yep, got quick.
Efficiency.
We've only got an hour. Yep.
Yeah, so true.
But anyway, maybe we should.
So today we are talking about properties and housing and...
We're continuing on from the previous episode.
Yeah. So if you haven't listened to that, maybe go back and do
go back.
that.
Otherwise, this probably won't make sense.
Yeah. But this is kind of a part 2, isn't it? Well, the whole point was because we sort of rambled in part 1.
Yeah. And we got, we
You got We actually have just recorded a podcast with our dads, bless their souls, and we came away from it and we were like, God, they stutter a lot, don't they, in between the words?
Yeah.
But then you start to notice actually you do it too.
Totally.
I was like, God, they're getting
and
old,
everyone
but
has
it's
their
actually
little
just us.
workisms.
I think because when you talk and when you're thinking, doing both at the same time when someone is recording what you're saying is so different to just rambling on the phone to somebody.
I had the best advice and it was like, you should be listening to every word that comes out of your
You mean
mouth.
someone gave you the best advice or you had the best advice?
I had been given the best advice.
Yeah, okay.
Is that you should listen to every word that comes out of your
Don't do that. It
mouth.
sounds real robotic actually.
But I was listening to every word that comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to you if you
But in
sounded like
terms
that.
of how fast you should speak.
Again, like I'm not sure. I think you're better to beg for forgiveness from being like,
But then I just ramble.
But we've had coffee and we're a bit like go. But would you listen to podcasts at like 1.5 speed or do you listen at normal?
I listen to your voice memos.
I know because now when
Soph's voice memos are the most time wasting.
Holy
She's just
shit.
like, and I forgot what I was going to say. And then, oh my God, hey, how are you? Someone walks past. So I just listen to them at 1.5 and then I forget and everyone else is now at 1.5 and other people talk a lot faster than you. And so they literally talk like this. And but it's.
Do you know what the problem is? Now that I know you listen in 1.5 speed, I feel the pressure when I'm recording it. So I'm like, hi, we're doing this and it's like makes me stumble and feel more stressed.
I had a meeting this morning, and I haven't told you about this, with a guy who he had about 4 coffees in the space of 45 minutes.
Well, he did with you there.
Yeah. And he spoke so fast to the point I came away from the meeting exhausted because I felt like I had to speak fast because he was speaking fast. And I came away just
Do
being
I
like,
do that in person or not?
No. Yeah.
Good to know.
Okay, so we have been talking about whether you should be investing or paying off your mortgage. And we've kind of gone through the scenarios of if you are early on in your mortgage, you should probably be paying off your mortgage or prioritizing paying off your mortgage rather than investing.
And that is because you have a larger amount to pay off, therefore more interest to pay off.
Yes, yeah. So I guess if we're running through, if we're in the camp of I want to pay off my mortgage early, I don't want to invest, I want to put all my money into paying off a mortgage. The pros of that are, yes, you'll save on interest because you'll be paying your mortgage off more quickly. You'll be debt free, so you'll be paying your quicker. Yes, yep, because you'll be paying your principal off, so the actual dollar amount of your loan, you'll be paying that off, and then eventually you'll be debt free. You can then leverage your equity.
Yes.
So that means that you could borrow more, and we spoke about that, but making sure that you do it appropriately. You don't just borrow more willy-nilly and invest in something stupid.
Can we pause on 1 second because this bit still kind of confuses me. Why would you put money into a house if you're just going to borrow that money back again? So for example, if I was paying my mortgage off and I was giving $100 a week and then I was like, cool, I've paid so much now. I'm actually going to take that all back again. Like, what's the point of that?
So I did exactly that.
Right.
I had nearly $1 million mortgage, paid some of it back over a couple of years. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I want to renovate, but I don't have the money to do it. So I'm going to go to the bank and say, hey, can I actually have that money back that I just paid you effectively, that I paid off of my mortgage, which was a couple of $100,000. Can I please borrow that back again? So say for argument's sake, I went from $1 million mortgage to an $800,000 mortgage. Then I borrowed $200,000, went back up to $1 million mortgage. And I used that $200,000 to renovate my house.
But why would you not just have used that $200,000 to renovate in the first place?
because I don't know that I wanted to. I'm paying off my mortgage.
Isn't that just bad planning?
No, because you never know what's going to happen. I might have sold it and then bought something else. I don't know that I want to renovate. Like it's,
but do you know what I mean? I'm kind of like, you're almost using.
I would be putting that money into an investment then, or into a savings account where I wasn't getting as high a return. If I'm paying off my debt, I'm effectively saving myself having to pay interest.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm paying down the principal and the interest.
Okay. Because the more that you pay down, but does your interest then go back up again if you were to then pull out? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So because the amount that you're borrowing has gone up. But if you're paying for renovating your house, you're adding value to your house. You might be adding a bathroom and you might be adding a garage. You might be adding a pool, whatever. So therefore, when you come to sell your house 5-10 years later, it's worth more. So the banks are very accommodating when it comes to lending for renovations.
Because it's adding value to something that they technically own.
They're not going to be accommodating if you're borrowing more money to go on holiday.
Okay, so basically the key things and why it's great to pay your mortgage off quickly
is that you'll save on interest, you'll be debt-free sooner, you can then leverage your equity, so what we were just talking about with borrowing to renovate, for example, and you'll free up funds going forward. So you'll have more disposable income to spend on what you want because you would have paid off your mortgage.
Honestly, it's one of those things. Like I imagine people listening who have a house, who are already paying off their mortgage, and they kind of they understand it. It to me feels like we're stepping into like a whole nother realm of education, similarly to when we started talking about stocks and the stock market.
It's a lot
where it took a while to really grasp the concepts.
Yeah.
And I don't know if people listening are like, oh my God, Sophie can't keep up. This is really frustrating to listen to. I definitely am not like you explain it once and I fully get it.
Yeah.
That's
good though.
Yeah,
we just
I know,
spoke about that in the previous episode about if you don't understand something.
I know, it's just frustrating because it's like when you say it, I know eventually I'll look back on this and be like, oh, it's easy and I get it. But
it's like, if I was,
like it doesn't really make sense to me why you would pay something off and then get the money back again. I know you just explained it.
You don't have to. I'm saying that's some people's.
It's an option to basically get.
It's like if I had a mortgage and it was $100,000 for argument's sake, and I'm going to pay a certain amount each month and it's going to take me 10 years to pay it off. And then in 10 years, I'm going to be debt free. I'm like, woohoo. When I'm 45, I'm going to be debt free and I'm going to own my house. Amazing, amazing, amazing. If I was like, fuck, you know what? I want to do it when by the time I'm 40. I'm going to scrimp and save and not go out and everything's going to go towards paying off my mortgage because I want to be debt free by the time I'm 40. Then I could do that. Or I could be like, you know what? I kind of want to invest a little bit as well. I'm actually not going to pay it off until I'm 50. So I'm going to pay even less each month. So you can kind of manipulate how much or how little you want to pay off. Yes, the bank has minimums that you have to pay. It's kind of like with your investments. You can be like, you know what? I want a really, really good retirement. I'm going to put away so much. I'm not going to go out with friends. I'm not going to go on holiday. I'm going to prioritize my future and put away as much as I can because I know that I know the benefits of that in the long term. Or you could be like, you know what? I'm young. I don't have children. I'm going to spend that money now and I'm going to worry about that down the track. And it is, I know you're frustrated when I say it's personal preference, but it totally is. If for you, your family's always been in debt, you've always had a mortgage, you've moved from rental to rental and you've never actually had your own stability or own home, owning your own house and being debt-free might be your sole priority because for you that's the only thing that matters is owning your own home and having that ownership and having a place that you know will always be yours. So it does really depend on what you're prioritizing in life. And that's why everyone will be so different because some people might want to diversify as well. They might want to be like, you know what, I don't want all my money tied up in a house and all my money going towards that asset because I don't know what's going to happen in the property market or I don't know, and so they might think I'm going to put some aside for investing as well as paying off my mortgage because I'm fortunate enough that I can do both. A lot of people right now can probably only do one, which is pay their mortgage. That's definitely the camp I'm in. The amount I'm putting towards my investments is very, very small. So I guess the cons of paying off your mortgage is that it could cut into your savings because if you're really, really focused on paying your mortgage instead of increasing your savings or increasing your investments, you're putting all that money in towards paying off your mortgage.
But you can then take it out again, can't you? Like we just talked about in terms of if you decide, actually, I need that money because I want to renovate.
Yep, but you'd have to apply, you'd have to tell the bank. You can't just.
It's not just a thing.
It's
that
not
you'll
just
be
in your bank
approved.
account.
Yeah.
It's very much you have to say to the bank, this is what I'm planning to do. This is how I'm going to increase the value of the house. So you've given that money back to the bank effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not yours anymore. Yeah, rather than putting it aside in an investment in your name, where you've got access to it if you wanted, or an emergency
You paid
fund.
someone back. It's like if someone buys you tickets and then you pay them back. You can't just be like, give me the money back. It's like, you've already paid.
Yes, yeah. It's like your parents. It is like your parents. It's like them giving you a loan and then you pay it back and then you're like, actually, can I have that money? And they're like, what for?
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Kidding, I don't need it.
Yeah. You're like, actually, I don't know. Yeah. So they'll be like, no, I want to see what you're reborrowing for. So yeah. And another con is that, the con of paying back your mortgage earlier.
Yep.
Is that, yes, there's that lack of diversification. So
because lots of your money's in the property market opposed to other areas.
And you're focused on paying off that one asset. You're not diversifying. Something might happen to the property market, or it might not might not do as well as investing, and you've made that choice. So and you also might have to pay what we call prepayment penalties. So this is when the bank has lent you a certain amount for a certain period of time. And if you're like, oh, I just got a bonus, or I just got my tax back and can I give you some money back now? They're like, no. You signed up to borrow this amount for this period of time.
Why? Because they want the interest.
Yeah, because they want the interest.
Oh.
And they've got, so there might be some banks you just have to be aware of. So don't think, okay, cool, I've got a huge chunk of money I'm going to pay off my mortgage, because you might.
What's a pre-penalty? Like how much would they charge you?
I don't know. It depends different banks, but some you can't at all. Others you pay a fee. Others are like, nope, don't worry about it. So it's kind of when you set up your mortgage, and your mortgage advisor will go through this with you. If you are in a job where you get paid commission or you get paid bonuses, they'll tend to say, okay, maybe half of your mortgage, you structure that you have that flexibility to pay it off.
So you just need to know what timeline you're working with and not go above that.
Yeah.
Would they warn you? So say you were to go and put a lump sum on your property and try and pay back some of your mortgage, and then you got a $10,000 penalty. Would they be like, hey, just so you know, you're going to lose 10 grand on this, or do you have to just know it?
No. So you would structure your mortgage. So say you had $100,000 mortgage, you'd structure it so that $50,000 you didn't get a penalty. So you could pay that off.
Yeah.
You could say you got a $20,000 bonus, you could put that towards that $50,000, and then this other $50,000 you'd just keep chipping away at in terms of paying the interest and the principal that you have set it up with. So the full amount doesn't have to have the same rules and regulations, if that makes sense.
Cool. Can we just do a timeout?
Yep, now we're moving on to...
Can you give me, I need something just for a moment, like tell me
We're
a
moving
fun
on to the
story.
investing side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have some fun examples in there?
So yes, so if you're in the camp of, you know what, I don't want to pay off my mortgage early, I want to invest the money.
Yeah.
Then again, the same's kind of true. It's like interest builds up over time. So the more you can invest early on, we've talked about this.
Oh, compound interest is kind of like the hockey stick on the other side. So you've got heaps of interest on one side for your house, but the longer you can be investing in the stock market, the bigger your returns in the long run. So okay, I know where we're going here.
So that's why if you're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to leave investing till later, until I've paid off my mortgage, you're kind of missing out on those compounding returns.
I'm kind of on team diversify, like do your property and do the stock market.
Interesting.
Why?
No, I'm probably more camp pay off your mortgage.
Are you?
Just, you know how much of like a boring conservative person I am. I would love to ring that debt-free bell and be like, I now own my house mortgage-free. I just think that would be so liberating. But yes, I do a little bit of investing, obviously.
I would like you to explain why, if you're so scared, not scared, but you're quite conservative when it comes to debt and risk taking or decisions making or whatever, why did you then leverage your current house for another one? Isn't that like, what the hell am I doing? Because I remember when we were away, when we were in London, and you were talking about making the decision and it was stressing you out, and you were definitely like a bit, not on edge, but it was a massive decision, obviously.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to do that instead of invest that money in stocks?
I couldn't borrow against my house to invest in the stock market. So I can't go to the bank and say, hey, can I draw down 200 grand to go invest in the stock market? They'd be like, hell no. But I'm also a kind of, I think, and I've psychoanalyze myself.
Love this.
Is I think I'm kind of it freaks me out when I do it, but I'm like, I know I'll figure out later.
You come round to the risk.
Yeah. Like I'm
it's
like, but then I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
I just feel like everything will.
You need a bit of a time to like
freak out,
get used to the idea.
Yeah. So I need a bit of a freak out, and then I know, and then I'm fine. Yeah.
I reckon that's similar to the way you work with lots of things, whether it's like changing plans on something or an idea for the curve. You're like, no. But then 2 months later, if the same idea comes up again, you're like, that's a great idea. I'm like, I see that 8 weeks ago. You know?
I feel like my dad's like that too, actually. I'm like, Dad, can you help me? He's like, well, no, it can't be done. No. And then he'll call back and be like, I figured out a way. I just think I need all the facts and I need to understand and I need to like, I'm okay with taking a risk if I understand it and I've done my research. And I think that's just been me forever. Like I'm okay making a big investment with clients' money or with my own money as long as I've ticked all the boxes, dotted the I's and crossed the T's and all of that. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So if someone's like, we should do this, I'm like, oh, no. And then I go away and I'll be like, oh, actually, now that I understand, I've got the facts, I'm all in.
So I need to come up with if I come up with a big idea, I need to plan that it's going to take you about 6 weeks to get on board. And then I'm like, you know.
Or just be like, or come with a bit more of like a background research thesis, being like, "Hey Vic, so
I've looked at all the options. I've done a bit of
I'll probably still be like, no, I need to go to that myself.
That's kind of what I mean.
No, yes. So if you're in the investing camp, I don't want to pay off my mortgage. I want to invest. Some of the pros with that camp is that yes, you could see a higher return. So we know that the stock market over the long term delivers about 10% return per year. Mm-hmm. Because it is inherently a more risky asset that you're investing in. So when we talk about risk, we mean the movement up and down. So if the price of something moves up and down a lot, that's more risky. Cash in the bank, the price of it doesn't really change. It's not risky. So, but whereas stocks, you never know what they're going to do each day. But over the long term, which I'm meaning like 10 plus years, we know that
because I overinvest and then I run out.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Whereas,
there's pluses and minuses with both. Like if you're paying off your mortgage,
I guess because I can't get
you
it back.
can't
The
access
plus
that money.
is the fact that it's gone and I have to just figure it out.
Find somewhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas some people might be investing and then be like, oh, actually need that money to go on a holiday, I'll just dip into it. It's like, no.
But see, that's what I mean. That's what I need to not be doing.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if you got into really dire situation and you needed your investments, you could then sell them and use that. So there is, yes, liquidity is definitely a pro in terms of investing over paying off your mortgage.
I want to try again. Can I try guess another one?
Yep.
Can I have a clue?
You're increasing your future wealth?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Because of compound interest.
Yeah.
Because on the other side, if you can leave it in for a long period of time, the amount you'll make would probably be more than whatever your interest is that you're paying off.
Yeah. So if you're prioritizing paying off your mortgage, you're making a sacrifice from your retirement savings, from your 20-year holiday.
So then doesn't that just make no sense to do that?
Well,
because like at the end of the day, all you're really worried about is having more money in retirement.
I guess I wish I had a diagram. But
I
if you
don't
were like,
have a house right now.
I'm
Let's
just trying to
pretend I do. Hold on. I'm Sally. Hi, I'm Sally. I have a house. I've just got a house. It's $1 million property.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got $1 million property, 7% interest.
Yeah.
I have $1,000 coming into my bank account every week that I can choose whether I put that straight towards my $1 million mortgage with 7% interest or into the stock market.
Yeah.
What do I need to think about?
You need to think about, okay, you have $1 million mortgage.
Yeah.
That $1,000 a week is hardly going to go far.
Yeah.
In terms of paying off your interest.
Yeah.
So you'd be forced to put all that onto your mortgage. You wouldn't have anything left over.
Oh, because
interest rates are so high.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a bad example then. Say I've got $5,000 coming into my account,
Yeah.
7% interest, $1 million mortgage.
Yeah.
How do I divide that up?
So if you're like, look, I'm going to pay the minimum. I'm going to pay the minimum amount of my mortgage, and then I'm going to invest the rest.
I think that's what I would do.
Okay, awesome.
Stunning. Thank God we got there.
No, but I'm just giving you the pros and cons of putting that extra money. That extra money, instead of putting that on your mortgage, you've decided to invest that.
Yeah.
There's no guaranteed return on that extra amount.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's just whether or not you can deal with the risk of that.
Yeah, you could lose money on that. Or
Mum,
you could.
I can't talk. I'm very busy. She keeps calling and it's stressing me out.
So Miso.
I know, Miso, it's a lot
I know,
going
we're
on.
getting really fired up here. I know. Oh, okay. I know you just want an answer.
Really,
and
so for our audio engineer's like, fuck, hurry up. This is so hectic.
No, but I know you just want an answer. But this is what I mean. And this is, we always talk about how we are being compassionate because everyone's in a different financial situation. If all of that.
Let's just take a deep breath.
Yeah. We just need to realize everyone is in a different boat. There is thousands of different boats that people are in.
Yeah.
When it comes to this. So there's not going to be a black and white answer.
But most people want to be in the boat that's heading towards the hill with the most money at the top. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is.
Oh, and you don't because you don't know what the stock market's going to do.
I don't know what the stock market's going to do.
Yeah,
I don't know
okay.
what your preference is for risk either. I'm not going to be like, yes, invest all in the stock market, and then you are literally
I'm
at
reading
your wits'
between the lines here. Okay.
end because you can't sleep at night and you're like.
So the reading between the lines for this is probably it makes more sense if you're wanting to go to the hill with the most money to do what you need to pay back your mortgage.
Yeah.
Plus also invest in the stock market because you're kind of going both directions in terms of paying off your house, but then also you're going to get long-term compound interest on your stock market investments. However, there is no guarantee on the stock market. So if you're putting that money there and someone was like, Victoria told me to put the money in the stock market and then it doesn't actually go up, you're like, well, that's never guaranteed.
Yes.
So it's the idea of if you're willing to look at stats and figures and past, returns in the stock market and you can trust that enough, knowing that it's really nothing is ever guaranteed, whether it's property or stocks. Yeah. So it's just your own level of like what you feel comfortable with. But really, if you're wanting to diversify, and you're wanting to be across different, like the stock market and the property market, you don't want to be getting obviously penalties from the bank for not paying back your loan, but you can deal with the idea of being in quite a large amount of debt with the bank.
Yep.
Oh, God, we got there in the end.
And I think with this whole conversation,
it's also a privilege to even to be able to do both.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, for a lot of people, they're probably in the camp of everything's going to their mortgage right now. And I totally get that. Mine pretty much is. It's very much
no one has 10 grand a week to be like, oh, what am I going to do with that?
What should I do with this? It's more if you get a lump sum of money or say you are going for that pay rise and you do get a pay rise and you're like, okay, cool.
Now what?
And now I do have that extra bit of money. Should I be putting that towards my mortgage or should I invest that? And this is why I get so frustrated with anything to do with investing is because there is no guarantees. You don't know what the stock market's going to do. Therefore, you kind of have to weigh up the pros and cons and kind of make these decisions, which might be a different decision what you make versus what I make, and that's fine. But what we're trying to do is give everyone the information to kind of go away and be like, okay, what am I happy with? What am I comfortable with?
I think a big part...
And don't get too hung up with like, but what's going to make me the most money?
Sorry, that was quite aggressive.
Because honestly, if you keep getting hung up about that and you actually don't do anything, you're going to be worse off. So
money
it's like
paralysis.
just do something and realize...
Investing paralysis. That's actually honestly probably a thing because you don't know what the best decision is.
And then you don't do anything and that's worse. So it's like, just realize there's always going to be someone doing better than you. There's always going to be someone doing worse than you.
Oh, God.
But just... Yeah, don't get too hung up on that. But anyway, so rounding out, the cons of putting all your money into investing rather than
in the stock market,
investing in the stock market, not paying off your mortgage, is that, yes, it is riskier. There is no guarantees. Investing is risky. You could lose your money. Yes, we talk about 10% return over the long term. But within that, there's years where it goes down, and we have to remember that. Another con is that investing, it doesn't make your debt go away. Your debt's still there.
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a
even
good
though
thing to think about.
you are putting money into another vehicle or another asset, your debt is still there. You're still going to have to pay interest, principal, whatever that is, on that debt. You're still going to see a big negative balance. So it's kind of, if you're hating seeing that, or you know you want to get rid of that as quickly as possible, then maybe investing that extra amount isn't right. You should be putting that away into your investments. But yes, so if you're in your early days of your mortgage, try and pay off as much as you can. If you're in your later years of your mortgage,
or just your minimum if that's what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, Soph, that amazing summary that we eventually got there.
So,
it's funny because I did the most prep for this episode, yet I feel like it was
a bit of a shambles.
Yeah, but we got there in the end. So after all of that, what would you do?
So I think what I've learned is if the interest rates are low, I would personally choose to invest in the stock market because I wholeheartedly believe that the stock market is over a long period of time going to deliver more than 2%.
Yeah.
Say I was on a 2% interest for my house. So that's, I think if I had more interest, like a higher interest rate, I would probably personally choose to pay off the minimum, and then I would invest in the stock market.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also just because I feel like we've had, how many podcasts have we done? We've probably spoken for like over 200 hours about investing. So I feel pretty confident in, even if it was just the S&P 500 or something.
Yeah.
I think the key thing would be, if I go and buy a house now, I'm not going to have enough to invest in the stock market and property. So that would be a consideration for me. And
that's fine. I think the thing to remember with you is because you'll be using a lot of your investments to invest in the property market, I assume, in terms of your KiwiSaver, in terms of
I would use all of that.
The thing to remember is when interest rates do start coming down, and this is something I've told myself,
you can then invest in the stock market again.
Still try and pay that, whatever that dollar amount is, but put the
difference in the stock market.
That's so that you start building up that diversification again in terms of, so you don't have everything in the property market.
By the way, that's the biggest, best thing you've said this whole podcast.
And we got there at the last 5 minutes.
Literally at the very end.
No, but yes. So, and I do say this to people when people are like, oh gosh, cost of living crisis, living paycheck to paycheck. I can't afford to even think about investing. Try to think of this time, and it's the same with if all your money's going into pay your mortgage because mortgage rates are so high. Try and think of this time as almost like a reset of, yes, okay, all my money's going to my mortgage, or I don't have anything left over to invest, and I've adjusted my lifestyle to live like this. When we start getting into a better economic environment and interest rates come down, you've now got a bit more disposable income, try and keep the lifestyle that you've created, or the more frugalness that you've introduced into your life. Try and keep those habits.
Unless you're really unhappy.
Yeah, unless
because a lot of people are having to. But I know what you're trying to say. It's like if you can maintain that, but then invest the difference.
Yes, you'll be much better off going forward. And for a lot of us, we have cut back, but we have maintained. We still have the ability to live and function. And yes, we might be, dropping down in terms of not buying so many luxury groceries, or delaying a holiday here and there, or whatever the situation is with you. If you can try and maintain that lifestyle still going forward, then you'll be much better off in the long run. So don't try and creep back to what you were previously spending money on, or how you were living.
So with your situation, you've now rented out your house here.
Yep.
And you're going back over to London and you're going to be renting. You've kind of come up with that in your head, right? Where you're like, if I can try and pay less for my rent, I'm still going to pay the same amount for my living costs, but I'm going to be investing the difference. Is that what you?
Yes, yeah. So it was when I'm on a fixed mortgage rate, which means it's a fixed percentage amount for a certain period of time. So it's 7% for the next, I can't remember the exact cutoff date, but for the next 12 months. So when that rolls off, I'm hoping that interest rates will be lower, but I'm still going to try and pay the same amount.
Got it.
So therefore I can pay off more principal and then pay off my mortgage earlier, because I've adjusted my life to pay this amount.
7% or whatever.
Yeah, this amount of mortgage payments each month.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep trying to pay that. even if interest rates go down, I don't actually have to pay that much. Or say we give ourselves a salary increase, I'm still going to try.
Can we please do that?
I'm still going to try and pay that same amount of mortgage because I know I can live off the difference.
Yes.
Even if
Will you be paying that into the mortgage though, or would you put a little bit of that into the stock market?
I'd probably keep paying my mortgage.
Because you're a debt girl.
Yeah, it just really kind of scares me seeing that much.
Fair.
Yeah. And even though I have made a lot of money on my property, it still scares me how much debt I'm in. I would like to get that back down, and then just gives you a bit more like breathing room. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I can now decide what to do rather than like.
I don't know if I'm going to feel, maybe it's just because I'm not in debt really. Yeah. So I don't feel that same stress. Maybe when I have experienced that, I'll get it and I'll be like, no, actually my paying off my mortgage is more important.
Yeah. It's quite interesting mentality having different.
I'm just like
owing money to the bank.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I think that's it. I'm like, I don't know, maybe I would feel totally different. I'm actually not sure.
Yeah.
But from an outside perspective, not being in debt, I'm kind of like, it's a no-brainer. I would just put money towards the stock market and pay my minimums for my house.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do a part 3 of this and see what's
in 7 years' time when I finally bought a house.
Yeah. We should actually set goals.
I know. Oh my God.
Free.
Because we did actually set personal goals and business goals 3 years ago, and Vic's already achieved hers and I haven't, and
I only achieved a few out of them.
No, but yours was to buy a second house, mine was to buy one house, and I haven't done that yet.
We've still got 2 years. They were 5-year goals.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh, you fucking overachiever. Are you kidding?
But there was
I
still.
thought it was 3-year goals.
No, it was 5 years. There's still a few that we haven't achieved.
Like what? 3 children?
Yeah. There's still some personal ones there that will take a while to achieve.
I'm pretty sure we put things in there.
I'm going to be on maternity leave for the next
like
3 years and pumping out those. Yeah. I know there was personal ones. The salary one was a bit of a joke.
What was it?
So we pay ourselves $90,000 right now.
Yeah.
A year. And we had targets in there of $350,000.
By now, crack up.
Also, like, so bougie. Who did we think we were?
You said it. I remember you being like I followed your lead because our business advisor was like, okay, so how much would you like to be earning? And I was like, did a side eye to Victoria to be like, well, I don't know. Like, what do we want? And she was like, 350. And I was like,
but we always got told if you're achieving all of your goals aren't ambitious enough.
You need to be like 75% hit rate.
And we had hit 75. So maybe 50, 75. But yeah, so the fact that we haven't hit 350,000 per year, probably a good thing.
That's so low that we thought that we'd be earning that much money.
Hey, ambitions.
Girls can dream.
Girls can dream.
For sure.
We'll get there one day, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll be like mortgage, investing. No, we probably would have paid our mortgages off by then, which would be great.
God, that'd be good.
You need to get one first.
Have one and then pay it off.
Can we have a mortgage party when you get one?
Yeah. But can we call it something a bit spicier?
Yeah.
Like
mortgage party.
Never do that again. I was thinking more like
liberation party. Liberation? Is that the right word? Liberating party?
Maybe it's like an ass celebration, like asset celebration or something. We'll work on that. TBC.
No, because you've got assets.
Oh, yeah, no, we want an asset.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
We'll work on that.
We're rambling because we are
trying to make this a longer podcast.
Yeah, we
didn't think there was enough information in this one.
So, yeah, maybe I'll summarize.
Yeah,
again.
Great. Nice. Good idea.
So,
key points, hit me.
Key points are if you want to pay off your mortgage early, remember the pros are you'll save on interest, you'll be debt free earlier, you can leverage your equity, and you'll free up your funds. You free up funds going forward, so you have more funds later in life. The cons are you cut into your savings, because you won't be allocating money there. You'd be paying off your mortgage. It might be your only investment, so you won't be diversifying, and you could end up paying prepayment penalties with the bank. If you choose to invest and not pay off your mortgage, so you're prioritizing investing the extra cash.
In the stock market.
Sorry, in the stock market. I know, I always think of investing. I'm just like, everyone thinks, anyway. The pros are that you could see a higher return because over the long term, the stock market has outperformed the property market. But that's over the long term. You're increasing your future wealth because you're allocating more money there. So therefore, compound interest has more time to work and generate a larger amount of money for you when you retire. And it's got better liquidity. So if you do have a whoopsie daisies, you can dip into your money that you have in investments because you can easily sell them rather than sell your property. Some cons are that it is riskier. So there is no guaranteed return. That's why I can't give you a guaranteed answer, Sophie, about what to do.
Yep.
And investing still doesn't make your debt go away. So you're still going to be in debt and you're still going to owe the bank money.
I think that was a good one. That one hit home because it's true. Even though you feel like you're doing a good thing, that number's not getting any less.
Yeah. Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.